Breaking news out of Midland, Texas. This is the active shooter situation that we have been telling you about. We know at least one person killed, and there were 11 who were hurt. Now, we are told that the gunman is contained, but the gunman is still engaged in a standoff with police, and we're getting breaking details really by the minute here. We know that Midland City Police Department is the lead on this, but the FBI is aware of this. SWAT is on the scene, FBI agents on the scene as this plays out. And just to give you an idea of where this is happening, if you're familiar with Midland, it is a building near the area of Business 20 and Eisenhower Drive. And the Midland Police Chief, Greg Snow, has said officers heard gunfire coming from the building, worked quickly to secure and clear the area. Armored units were deployed and partner agencies assisted in the response. Efforts to bring the standoff with the shooter to a safe resolution are ongoing. Donna, you work with authorities often in the course of your legal work. I mean, this is still a fragile situation if there's a standoff.
Very fragile, and you don't know what weapons this person has available to them. Is this going to be a suicide situation? Is he going to engage in a shootout with law enforcement? You're going to have SWAT, you're going to have hostage people coming out now to try to negotiate with him to get him or her, or whoever it is, to surrender themselves to law enforcement here. But you don't know what the situation is. You don't know if possibly he has anybody else with him. I mean, at this point, we don't know enough to say, other than the fact that you need to make sure that law enforcement remains safe. They keep whatever building or perimeter that this person is in secure so they can't get out another way. You obviously have many law enforcement agencies on scene here. All will work together. But these are very tense situations for law enforcement.
And Arthel, you've worked on a lot of these situations in the course of your reporting and anchoring. I do want to point out that one of our Fox reporters notes that this area in Midland, Odessa, had a shooter in 2019 who drove around randomly targeting people, killed 7. No indication there's any sort of link, but just to give you some context of the violence that this area has encountered not so long ago in 2019.
Sure. And, you know, listen, we have there's some reporting that some of the victims have been taken to the hospital, which means that these hostages are not still in there inside of this building with this suspect, this shooter, this hostage taker here. And so that is a good sign. We don't know if he still has people there in the building, or she, as you said, Donna, with him. Obviously, hostage negotiators are going to be trying to make sure to make contact, to keep this hostage taker, now killer, because one person has been pronounced dead, to keep them calm, to make sure that, as you said, this won't be a suicide mission, to get him out there, to speak to him, to find out who I'm sure they're doing their best to find out if there are any family members who may know who this person is based on the location, the time of day, and whatever information that has been gleaned so far by investigators. But again, the idea, this killer is contained, which is a good thing. And the idea, again, is to make sure that everybody around is safe. SWAT team is there. They are going to make sure as best as they can that no one else is hurt or injured. But the main thing that I'm curious about when we get in touch with our investigators, investigative experts, is who's still in the building, if they know that there are more hostages in that building with this gunman. It's another tragic situation, and again, as you pointed out, that this community has experienced such violence not long ago, and you know, we just want to make sure that we are not, as a collective society, that we're not desensitized to what's happening here. So you have one person dead. This is a person who got up this morning, went to work, and they won't return home to their family. And then you have other people who are injured. They're in the operating room, some of the victims, and we don't know. It may not be life-threatening injuries. We're not sure yet. We will be, I'm sure, getting an update from authorities sooner than later from the medical facility there treating these patients. And again, I think what authorities are mainly working on at this point is to make sure that no one else gets harmed, no one else is killed, God forbid, and hopefully they can talk to this person, this gunman, and keep them alive so they can find out try to glean the motive, again, to find out some of the answers to the questions of, is he working with someone? What started this? And I think that Paul Morrow is the perfect person to speak to at this point. And I do understand that we have Paul on the line. And Paul, this is Arthel.
Okay.
Yes, if you can. Yes, Paul. So, again, some of the questions that I raised here, which was what authorities may be looking for, and you can chime in on this, just how much they know about this gunman, and mainly how many people are still in this building with this gunman.
So, Arthel, those are definitely the salient questions. You want to know at this point, of course, if he's got any hostages. And realistically, up front, we want to know from where you and I are sitting now, if contact has been made and if it's been steady and ongoing. One of the challenges you face in situations like this, no matter how much expertise you have, how much experience you have in hostage negotiation or dealing with a barricaded EDP, emotionally disturbed person, is getting that contact initially made. And if you don't have, let's say, an identity, a cell phone number, a landline, something like that, you really have a challenge. And then once you do make contact, it's a very delicate balance to keep that contact going. At all costs, you want to keep that contact live, because that's how you can try to get to whatever this person's motivation is, but keep him talking. The isolation of this person is one of the things you really want to avoid, because generally this is somebody who's been living in his or her own head for a long time, and that's when things went bad.
And based on those questions, Paul, what are some of, and every case is different, of course, what are some of the questions or what are some of the conversations that hostage negotiators may be having with this suspect?
So counterintuitively, you don't generally just start off with something that could challenge or ask, you know, what the heck is going on here, this kind of thing. The first thing you want to get is a rapport. You want to get a name, you want to get an identity, you want to get maybe a little bit of family background, as you guys have said, and rightly so. You know, if you can get family members there, somebody who can get to this person and talk to them and find out, you know, how you can resolve this situation, that is paramount. Excuse me, what you don't want to do is getting into any kind of an argument or anything that challenges this person. You don't want them to try to prove something in any way, shape, or form. You want to get talking to them so you can understand their mindset and why they would do such a terrible thing, and how you can resolve it so that nobody else gets hurt, including the shooter. You want to make sure that the shooter feels like you're not entirely hostile to him, and that you somehow or other find some common ground so you can find a way to talk him out of there, so that he believes that you're not just looking to come at him aggressively, shoot him, that kind of thing, and which is accurate, by the way. The negotiators are going to want to do everything they can to get him out of there without any more shooting going on, including at him.
Paul, I just want to reset the scene here because we're getting more details that are coming in. You know, we are very zoomed into this shot, but when you zoom out, this is a busy area of Midland, Texas. You can see buildings. There's actually a highway right there, and they've cordoned off this area in this business area. These are the details we have coming in. The suspect remained in a standoff with officers for about 2 hours after the shooting, police said. The shooting started at around 8 a.m. in one part of the city before ending up near a veterinary hospital. So it seems as if maybe the shooter was escaping, and here is where we are now, where they've contained him. Not only that, we found that it sounded like 40 shots were fired. That's according to Andrea Mandius, who works at an automobile body shop near that vet hospital. And then we have video from her that showed a number of officers that were pouring out of the back of an armored police vehicle. Police were also sending robots into the area. Officers are containing the situation, she said to the Associated Press. What do you make of that? Because it sounds as if there was this 2-hour standoff, the suspect fled and ended up at a vet hospital.
Yeah, so that for the police is a nightmare. There's nothing worse than a mobile scene, and it sounds like that's what they were dealing with here at some point. So from the facts, and these are limited facts, obviously, we're going off of, sounds like you had this standoff going on, and somehow or other he got out. That's something that they're going to have to look at. But then he goes mobile, and then you got a real problem. Now they've really, sounds to me like they've brought in all kinds of reinforcements. When you're telling me armored cars, or officers pouring out of it, they're settling in for a good long haul here. And that, by the way, is one of the paradigms that's always involved in this kind of a thing. You stage with all the time you need in mind. That is to say, nobody rushes anything. All you want now is conversation, and you settle in for a long haul. And if you're leading this, and there will be an incident commander, right now my understanding is that Midland PD has the lead. So if you're the chief of the Midland PD, and I can guarantee you the top guy is there, whoever it is, he's going to be settling in with his team in a staging area, and he's going to be thinking in terms of rotating personnel, even rotating people to converse with the barricaded here, because, as I said, people get tired. You want to make sure you're fresh and you have good rapport going. But very clearly, this person's all in. When you tell me a 2-hour standoff and then a mobile scene and 40 shots, well, what are you talking about here? Somebody who had some planning potentially, somebody who had more ammunition, had brought me extra clips and things like that. So very clearly, this is somebody who's all in, and what you got to do now is wait them out.
Hi, Paul, it's Donna. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking about everything that's happening outside of dealing with the barricaded, right? So now you have all of this law enforcement working. Talk to us about what the other officers are doing that are not involved with the barricaded. I mean, obviously, we know that he had to be in a car if this was a mobile scene. So they have a vehicle. So they're doing some traces on that car to try to figure out who this is. Maybe they're getting some digital evidence. Are they already going to judges to look for search warrants to go to a home where this person may have been to understand more about the motive here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever something like this happens, off scene, there are all kinds of people sitting in cubicles and offices who are crunching whatever data they have. And I can guarantee you, this person is not identified. They're doing things like reviewing video, trying to trace the plate, trace the car, maybe phone work by now. They're doing all of that stuff because if he's not talking to them and they're not getting what they want, they got to get it another way. So absolutely, there's a lot going on you don't see. And by the way, the FBI is there. They're going to be up on all of this as well.
No doubt. Paul Morrow, thank you. And we will keep you updated with the breaking news. 40 shots fired, according to the Associated Press. This began in one part of Midland, Texas, ended up at a veterinary hospital in or around there where this is contained. The shooter is contained, but the standoff continues. As we get more information, we will update you. More Outnumbered in a moment.